The issue of when do we clear the salary, this is a very legitimate question. But I want to I don't know, to remind us as leaders, because if we talk as if we don't know why the salaries are not being paid. We know our economy and the public revenue, for that matter, has been largely from one single source, and that is oil. And when the dark blend that contributes 70% of our oil revenue was disrupted as a result of the conflict in Sudan, we lost close to 80% of our revenues to the national budget. And I think it would be unfair for you as leaders not to know that we have been struggling. We are only dependent on the tax revenues, which contribute less than 20% to our national budget. So I think the question we should be discussing here is, now that the oil resumption is delayed, what can we do to ensure that that happens? Second is, what other alternative do we have that if it doesn't come, how do we operate? So we'll be talking about austerity measures and say we must leave them within the little we have. I thought those are the discussions we should be having, but not us saying, when are you going to clear the arrears? When we know we don't have the money. And for the purposes, this forum is about intergovernmental relations, and as leaders, I think when we are asking legitimate, and it is your right as you represent the people, they ask you are going to Juba, please let us know when you come back, when is our money being paid, is their right, both morally and legally, that they are employees of the government, they have discharged their duties, and they are supposed to get paid for it. That they would ask. But I expect you, with this knowledge that how we get our money, and it is in trouble now, that you can help explain and not create a wedge between the sub-national and national to look like we have the money and we are not complying with our legal obligation to transfer to the states. That is my request, Your Excellency, and it is not only limited to the state, even national here. Some of our leaders do not want to acknowledge that we have a problem as far as the oil export disruption is concerned. And it applies to all form of arrears, because until when we have the revenues back, we will be struggling. But then what is our message? We are doing our part to make sure that the resumption happens as soon as possible, because our people are suffering. And that is when you would put me to task. If I have that money and I don't transfer the money as it should be. PIT, I did not get the specific question, but let me try, Your Excellency. If it's about the collection of PIT, it has been an area of disagreement between the national and the state government, because in the Constitution, it is not so clear like other types of taxes. Other types of taxes have been clarified what should be collected at the national, at the state, and the county level. The state and the national both appear to have that mandate. And so the debate, Your Excellency, has been which one can be classified as a national PIT and which one is supposed to be a state PIT. And with that, I want to say the majority of our states are actually collecting PIT. Even if when we want to centralize the PIT and we pay them just like the sales tax adjustment, there has been arrangement even before I took the office that a certain percentage, say 30%, should be given to the state from which the national collects the PIT. We've not had agreement over that, but we think we are still engaging. In fact, with the help of development partners, UNDP had facilitated a number of meetings between the states and the national levels on this issue. We also think, Your Excellency, with the constitution-making process, this will be clarified. Because at the end of the day, we do understand why the states are really in need of some of these taxes. If we had money and we regularly disperse their transfers as budgeted, I think there would be no problem for a state to allow the national government to collect even their own taxes, because we would be more efficient than them. Like other countries have done, we could actually even collect for them their own taxes and release to them, because as one country has been said. But then the taxes that are shared with transparency, and there was a proposal to establish what is known as one-stop shop, where you will have the National Revenue Authority, the South Sudan Revenue Authority official and the state taxing together for transparency purposes, so that at the end of the collection period, each state will know how much was collected from their state, and then the percentage, the sharing formula is applied, and transparently everybody is happy that their percentage is the legitimate one. So that we want to do, Your Excellency. But for now, we have not been very harsh on them, because we do understand that there are some states, if they actually don't collect, they will shut, because if they take 3 months, 4 months without a transfer coming, and they are a government to operate, there's a problem. So that's why we're not being hard. So if a question was different with regard to the PIT, Your Excellency, then I may not have addressed it well. But this is what I know about PIT. We need to clarify, yes, this one we call the NGOs, we call it private PIT, and there is public PIT. Public is for all the officials, the public sector employees at the state level. They also pay PIT. That we don't touch. 2, there are some under the private PIT, which is the NGOs and the companies, and even rental income. All that comes as. Now, we also agree that which one are national and which one are state. So in actual fact, we have been trying a very few areas where we disagree. But in most cases, we know which PIT is. Like for a company or a community-based organization with having an office in Pibor administrative area and is paying rental, that rental income, which is part of PIT, doesn't come to us. Okay? The employees of the NGOs, whether registered nationally, but positions were created and advertised at the local level, and they take, we don't take. But where a company or an NGO is registered here in Cuba at the National Registry of Companies, and they advertise a position nationally, and someone is hired and sent to Arab state, that is a national, because they are being paid from here and recruited from national. So it is only few areas that we don't agree, but we have not been very hard, and I think the governors can attest to that. There were issues around liquidity, Your Excellency, and the issue of why the Minister of Finance is announcing the release of salaries I want to agree with the Minister of Finance that in fact we should not have been announcing, but it is also not a secret that the salaries have been released. Is not a secret. The reason has been because of the long wait sometime where people don't receive their salary. So it is that some information and accurate information for that matter is communicated, whether it is 1 month's salary or it is more than that. But going forward, I want to agree with you that this is a business as usual. But then if you wait for months, you may need some information that something is on the way. But we will address that. The issue of liquidity is a preserve of the Bank of South Sudan or commercial banks. What happened, and the EU and state ministers of finance can also attest to this. We receive tax revenues or proceeds from sale of crude oil, for example, through account. We don't get cash. And all over in the past, it is the same process. When we receive money in our accounts, we then process the payroll and send it to the government bank, which is the Bank of South Sudan. The government bank will now then create the institution's account, whether they are state or ministries. Some, they take their money straight from the Bank of South Sudan. Others, another transfer will be done from the Bank of South Sudan accounts to commercial bank. So it is not the Minister of Finance that gets cash in form of the sale of crude or collection, and then we set aside that cash and send only electronic money. Again, I want to request your understanding on that. I do not want to explain. I have asked same question, but I am aware. As part of being responsible leaders, we know a few challenges around liquidity. Number one, many of our people cash salaries. So if the total wage bill is 50 billion, for example, maybe 40 billion is withdrawn physically. There is no economy anywhere in the world can support that, because it brings two issues. You have to bring, because there is this small amount, 1,000, 3,000, for millions of people who are keeping it under the bed, that money amounts to something. So you would find that not all the money that is supposed to be circulating in the economy is in the bank at any one time. Part of it would be in the hands of the people. And so you either create a situation where you bring money equivalent to the salaries you want to pay every time you are paying salary. You can imagine what that will do to our economy. So the reason why banking was introduced is for you, if you are being paid $1 million, you don't have to walk to the bank. All of us here receiving millions in our account, £1 million, which is today $200 equivalent. We all receive it in our account, we all walk to the bank and withdraw the same amount physically, all of that, you will bring down banks. Because the banking is a concept based on, if I have $1 million, it will be in my account. If I want to pay you with the 50,000, I'll pay through the account. I remain with the 950 in my account. If I want to get some small small spending, I'll withdraw 50. Then 900 will be in my account. If I want, somebody else wants, that's the banking. Now our culture here, and this is all South Sudan, and in fact, the culprit are us. The leaders and the businessmen who have huge bank accounts and they don't want to leave money in the banks. They would rather withdraw all of it and go and keep it in the houses or in the shops, leaving others with nothing. Maybe somebody was going to get 100,000, but you have taken $1 billion. This is what happened. So we have an economy to manage here. And the two things we are addressing to help our economy is by stopping the deficit, which I said. There is no by over what I call monetary financing. We have stopped overdraft. And we have also stopped printing more than is required by our economy. There is a formula we use, say that in every, like now we have 4.2 trillion budget. There is a percentage of how much money we should print in the next 12 months. When it becomes more than that, then you are damaging the economy. That's why you have a soaring inflation. So the same behavior where everybody runs to the bank whenever they get paid and withdraw money in cash is what is forcing the commercial bank and the Bank of South Sudan to struggle to provide enough cash to everybody. So we are saying let us accept the bank account. All the government employees and everybody else should be paid through bank accounts. And when you have it in your account, you not withdraw all of it. If you want to pay me, please pay me through my account.
Through check.
Through checks. And this is all of us are complying in other countries we go to. Why is it that we behave when we are outside our country, and when in our country we don't want to do the right thing?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you have made yourself clear.
No, we are not saying 100% people will not be withdrawing cash. We know areas without bank, and we will create it our work to encourage the opening of banks, the fintechs. Today there is what we call Momo and M-Grush. I can send you now 5 million pounds in your account, and you can send it to the other person. Anything you buy up to 5 million at any one point you can do it. And there is a limit, and we can encourage if those who are familiar with the MTN mobile money in Uganda or M-Pesa in Kenya, you will attest to that. The limit can be enhanced, and you don't have to, it is even a security threat to you. But for GPA, for example, the Greater Piboro, and some security units that are outside the banking, the towns and banking, these people can be paid through mobile banking, or we can take a bank there, or we can allow the delivery of actual cash. But that would be small if those of us in the city accept. In fact, by law, if you owe me 1 million, and I go to you now and demand for you to pay me, you write a check for me, and I don't have a bank account, I cannot go to court and refuse the check and tell you, because I don't have a bank account today, you have not paid me. I cannot go to any court and say this person has refused to pay me because you are paid. That is when I will understand the importance of banking, and I will walk to the bank. I have a check here, how do I get it? They will tell me, bring your GCR, open an account, deposit this, you will be accessing your money. That is what we all need to do. Your Excellency is the last one. This is something that has not been asked, but it is linked to the need for banking and stopping huge cash circulation is the issue of borrowing 100%. In this economy, and I have remembered Governor of Western Equatoria asking who is in control of our economy. So I will answer that. I'm sorry I was forgetting it. But let me link it to this, Your Excellency, that if you were to open bank accounts and you operate, and you are in need of short-term financing, like what we call advance, you would be able to do that with your bank. Because your bank knows you have an account with them, and your income does come through their account. You will have already created a credit history, and that is what the bank uses to lend money. Now, our people are suffering here, Your Excellency. They walk to individual, ask for a certain amount, and they will be told 100%. Where does that, what kind of a business can you do in 1 month to return 100,000 with another 100,000? Something illegal, and it is not right for our country. Why don't we, there are banks here who have been rendered, they are not doing their main business, which is lending. The bank, because people don't bank with them and they don't borrow from them. And it would be cheaper for you today, the interest rate the benchmark interest rate in our country is 15%, Your Excellency. But look, people are paying 100% when they are in need of money and they want to borrow from people. Something illegal, and it is not fair. Now, finally, on the issue of who owns the economy, His Excellency, the first Vice President said, we own the economy is us. It is the people and activities we do and the resources we have. So for sure, we control our economy. But maybe the debate will be about what percentage. Suppose we have non-South Sudanese. How much of the GDP that belongs to others? But when it comes to legal terms, any business that is legally registered becomes a South Sudanese. So it's still ours. So there is no discrimination between a trader who is a South Sudanese and a trader who is a foreigner but registered in accordance with our laws. That person must be treated equally as the South Sudanese here. So we are in control of our economy. But what we want to say here, do our people engage in essential businesses? Businesses that keep money in our economy. That is the question we should ask government. That we are dependent on our friends and people who have chosen to do business in South Sudan. But our own people are not engaging in meaningful business. The government wants to do everything to ensure that we take over the ownership of our economy. Your Excellency, First Vice President, if there is no more questions that I might have skipped, then I will beg to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.